Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm trying to start my video, but it does not seem to be working. So hopefully you can
We
hear
can hear
me.
you for sure.
Okay, great. Then I'm going to go ahead and start with my questions. Thank you so much for Mr. Regan for, as we discussed, for you being here. And as we discussed during our courtesy meeting, solving the climate crisis must be a top national priority. And a critical pillar of this effort should be the American biofuel industry. In particular, farmers and blenders in Illinois and throughout the heartland are ready to do their part to help lower carbon emissions in the transportation sector and reduce dependence on foreign oil, all while creating or supporting quality jobs right here at home. It's hard to think of a better way to put American interests first than supporting the US biofuel industry. And that is why one of the most surprising actions of the Trump administration may have been its cynical betrayal of the Midwest. While the former president campaigned on grand claims of being a champion of the renewable fuel standard, upon entering office, however, the Trump transition immediately empowered a billionaire in the oil refinery business to begin secret plotting to dismantle the RFS. My constituents in Illinois were betrayed, but remain optimistic that the Biden administration will be a staunch champion of our farmers and of American biofuels. Mr. Regan, if confirmed to lead EPA, will you prioritize the faithful execution of the bipartisan RFS program just as Congress intended?
Thank you for that question, Senator Duckworth. And you have my commitment that we will take a look at the RFS program and we will introduce some transparency into that program. We will let science lead us and we will follow the letter of the law as it was intended for that program. President Biden has not been shy that agriculture will have a seat at the table as we tackle climate. And he's been specifically focused on biofuels and advanced biofuels. One of the first conversations I had upon nomination was reaching out to now Secretary Tom Vilsack to talk about how we can partner together to pursue these efforts. So you have my commitment in this area.
Thank you. We also need to look backwards a little bit in terms of the backlog. Much attention was given to the prior administration's unlawful abuse of exemptions for oil refineries. However, the Trump administration's sabotage of the RFS program was not limited to doing the bidding of big oil. In fact, EPA was also slow to act or refused to act in certain cases on applications from innovative American companies developing new advanced biofuels that are ready to qualify for the RFS. EPA now faces a huge backlog of applications, some of which have been sitting for over 4 years. If confirmed, will you commit to prioritizing clearing this backlog so that new climate-friendly biofuels can enter the market as soon as possible?
Well, thank you for the question, Senator. And I will spend some time with our staff taking a look at this backlog and working on processes of efficiency so that we can make up for lost time.
Thank you. I also want to talk to you a little bit about environmental justice. My partner in this, Senator Booker, initiated the conversation, and we've talked about this at length on both sides of the aisle. I'm so happy to see that there's bipartisan support for fixing environmental injustice. If confirmed, what actions would you take to institutionalize a focus on environmental justice in every region of the EPA? For example, some of the injustice happens because there's structural injustice. You just don't have enough staff members that can do the monitoring, that can actually go out there in some of these regions, whether it's the south side of Chicago or a rural community like Sauget, Illinois, in far southern Illinois, where there's just not enough people to go out there and actually maintain the ambient air monitoring of chemical emissions. What would you do to fix to actually fix the inequities within the institutional structure of EPA so that we have a focus on environmental justice in every region where EPA is?
Well, thank you for that question. And I'm proud to say that President Biden has made environmental justice a centerpiece of this administration. So we're going to have some help in terms of looking at CEQ and other agencies as well. But as it relates to EPA, it's my intent to have an environmental justice and equity advisor to the administrator if I'm lucky enough to be confirmed. We also are looking at how we need to organize EPA to be ensured that environmental justice and equity is a top priority. We know that in looking at the preliminary hiring of a lot of officials at EPA, we will have environmental justice and equity experts people who have on-the-ground experience and expertise placed in all of our media offices so that that lens is applied at every level of our decision-making. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of ground to make up, and I'm sure that I will be back before this committee asking for additional resources in this area to be sure that all Americans have access to clean air and clean water.
Thank you. In the coming weeks, I will be introducing the Comprehensive Environmental Justice for All Act in coordination with leaders of the House EJ Caucus, who will also introduce the House Companion Bill. If confirmed, will you commit to directing EPA to provide technical assistance to support my office and this committee so that we may strengthen and advance this important legislative proposal?
Thank you for that question, and you have my commitment that the staff and myself at EPA will be a partner in any legislation that advances this topic and helps us do a better job of protecting each and every American in this country.